everyone. Welcome to Virtual Vegfest Live. Really happy that you're here. It's been a day. It's been a day, not just for me, but for Dawn as well. So let's say thank you to Rebel Cheese, because we're going to continue having them as our sponsor of Virtual Vegfest Live. And they're our new prize pack donation sponsor. So if you go to virtualvegfestlive.com and you click the contest tab, you can enter to win, because it's March. You can enter to win one of 7 prize packs. And those prize packs, let's see if I can get it right, are from Hodo Foods. Crafters. Nope, not Crafters. Hodo Foods, Fabulous, Follow Your Heart. I wrote it down. Revolution Gelato, Terra Seed, Cinnaholic, Rebel Cheese. And then next month, we are adding Vegkey. So there'll be 8 next month. That's amazing. So a simple thing to do is you go to virtualvegfestlive.com and enter the contest. And hey, it gets mailed to you. It's the easiest contest ever. And then like Rebel Cheese and Vegan Stew will be back next week on Wednesday. Coach Kayla is this Wednesday. Kimberly's on Monday, and then Thursday, Wake Up and Yoga at 12:30 p.m. with Victoria, Vibrant with Vic. Lots of awesome shows. New yoga starting April 5th on Tuesdays at 11 a.m. Eastern time, right? So no lack of shows for you to partake in. And of course, go to Virtual Veg Fest on YouTube and click the subscribe button and the little notification button so you can follow along for when we go live, which is fantastic. Dawn's with us. Dawn is part of the Stew crew. Dawn is one of my favorite people, probably because we're both Sagittarians and we're very similar, and that could mean explosions, but it's worked out really well, and I'm really happy because we've got lots to talk about. We've got an April 30th event in Greenville. We've got vegucating. We've got Herban Eats. We've got books. We've got cooking. We've got wherever it'll go. So here we go. Hey, Dawn, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing
Thanks for
well.
bringing me in.
Oh, it's my pleasure. So
Can you?
tell us everything that you want to know.
Gosh, what do you really want to know? And yes, I agree. This is what I'll tell everyone at first. This Sagittarius over here, I love this girl too. We are so alike. We're like twin sisters, but we didn't like each other at first. I'll tell you this. So we bumped heads. We were cool at first, and we bumped heads. And then, as destiny and fate would have it, we ran into each other again, and she realized I wasn't an ogre. So that's what I'll tell you at first. She just realized that I was light kind, and then she realized she's just a barker, not a biter. So thank you so much for bringing me into the crew and also for having me tonight. Dawn Hilton Williams, I'm the Vegucator with Herban Eats. Herban Eats is a whole food, plant based, healthy vegan product and solutions brand. It's all about radicalizing wellness, and that's what we do. And we've been doing that. Initially, Herban Eats started in Charlotte, gosh, 2007, called Breakfast and Bed Catering. Didn't go vegan, and then I moved, married my husband, got to Greenville, ended up moving to the Greenville area in 2009. Then I went, and it was always eco-friendly and grass-fed, terribly unhealthy, had no idea. Husband had a few health scares in 2017, which led me to throw away all the products. I'd seen some of the great documentaries that are out, Forks Over Knives. I'm not sure I'd seen the other one yet, but Forks Over Knives was out, and I saw that, but I had a business, a thriving business. So I wasn't excited about. I was like, oh yeah, this is for other people. You know, you do. Oh yeah, but this is health. Yeah, but it's I'm so healthy. Yeah, mind you, half of my family had already died from chronic disease. But when my husband started having health scares, it really put the fear in me because I found my father strewn across the room in a very terrible way from a painful death with heart attack, and I was concerned that Anthony was going to have some similar terrible fate. So I was triggered, and that triggered me to throw everything away out of the freezer in the house. It triggered me to change my business model in 30 days, losing 95, a little bit over 95% of my clients for customers, which is fine. And then I took Colin Campbell's course at Whole Food Plant Based Nutrition at Cornell, and changed my life. Then I started going to Peapod conferences and been on it ever since. And my business changed from customers who wanted what they wanted to working with dietitians and nutritionists and doctors and things like that. So mine has been a much of a health journey. I also wanted to be a vet major in college. I ended up majoring in political science. Veterinary science had too much math. So that's the only reason I didn't do veterinary science. So you didn't know that. But otherwise, it's been a great journey. And I'm very focused on health and food justice and health inequities and food deserts and radicalizing wellness in communities where we're really overwrought with disproportionality and systemic racism. So that's about it for me.
Well, that's not it. And we know that.
Well, that's a good start. I don't want to,
It's yeah, no, it's a great start because there's so many things to touch on. Here's one of the things in writing, you are ferocious. When you type, you are absolutely ferocious. In person or on video and live, you're not as ferocious. You're strong and you're confident, but you're scary in text. And that's where we had our issue is in text because
yeah,
when
yeah,
person you were like, I was like, oh, this
mhm,
woman's wonderful. And on the phone, wonderful. And like live in the videos, this is fantastic. And you're excellent and a wonderful part of the business too, because you bring education not just to the public, to the team, it's true, but to all of us as well, which we touched on the live shows, is that
right.
you're vegucating, but you're also educating us because as white women, with most of us are, there's
Mhm,
things that we just didn't understand. There are words that I had no clue that they would trigger somebody, a person of color, if I said them. This is
right.
just the Steel Crew has been a journey,
Mhm,
and it's been amazing. And I'm glad that you said yes to becoming a part of it because I feel like it's been better. It is better because of it.
right. I think the diverse, you have, it's just a great diverse mix of ages, experiences, ethnicities, backgrounds. And I think it's nicely rounded off and got the right kind of energy. Some know fallback, some know when to speed, stay when they went. So I think you did a great job picking. And of course, you've got to go through it's a transition because we're all in the same boat of trying to help people to have better lives, help the planet, and help animals, and help our health. We're all in the same trifecta. We just approach it differently. So I'm just glad to be a part of it. And I think what you're doing is very important. And I think we should support the important work as long as it's done with some modicum of focus on health. Uh, so as we talk about some of the vegan events that I've seen, some of the Vegfest, I typically go to the plant-based conferences, whether it's continuing education hours kind of things. But the reason I'll go to your Vegfest is because you're more discriminating about who you'll have there and what you'll have, and you're more intentional about making sure that health is not just the food. Food's great, but we're going to talk health is more too. So that's a part of why I focus too on what I focus on. So it's important what you're doing and keep up the good work. We've all got to help each other, even through the text messages and emails and the Facebook post threads. So again, we're all well-meaning. It's just I'm fired up most of the time. You know me, Helene. I'm fired up, man. I'm fired up. So I try to temper it. I think in my 54 years of life, I think I try to get better at being tempered. But Sagittarius nature is not tempered. It's passion.
Yeah, we're
So
fiery. We're fiery
yes,
people, and when we're pushed into that fire, you don't know what's going to come out of our mouths.
right,
And I, it's like I apologize ahead of time because you don't know what I'm going to say, and that's just everyone out there. You just don't know. When I'm stressed, it gets worse, and at the events, I'm stressed, so I may not always. I remember in Knoxville last year, it was really stressful. Oh yeah,
hmm,
firecrackers from early. That's awesome. Yeah,
hmm,
so
firecracker.
I was really stressed at the Knoxville event at Scruffy City Vegan Fest last year, and
Hmm.
I like people came up to me like give me a hug, and I just put my hand up and said, "No, I can't. I can't. I don't even want to. I can't talk to you right now. I can't do anything right now. I'm so stressed about this setup
Right,
that
right,
just walk away because it's just not a good time. And when I'm ready, when I'm approachable, I'll come back. But
right.
No. Nope, nope,
Yeah.
nope. Yeah, it's much worse when I'm stressed.
Yeah, well, and I think that a lot of people don't know as vegan event producers kind of the what that is because it's an extra level of giving to the community. It's an extra level of giving. It looks like you're money making. It's not. Don't get confused, guys. It's not money making. There are easier ways to make money, and oftentimes it's not money making. Oftentimes it's breaking even or just a little something, you know. But the whole point of it is it's an extra level of service to the community. So you have to make sure everybody on your on your team and then the vendors and the participants, everybody is in that same vibration. So it's the work of that, and then people outside of that, like you said, firecrackers. It's always important to make sure that as a vendor, as a vendor, a participator, a producer, that all those pieces are moving pieces. So, and you're taking on so many, so I just think it's good what you're doing. And again, we've got to support all these veg fests, but I'm very concerned about making sure that we focus on some health. So again, I thank you for what you do in making sure that health is important in your presentations.
Well, the that's a good segue to Eat, Drink, Disrupt
Right.
because that's your event that it's your second annual, right? This would be a
Right.
second or third,
The
second
third,
one.
the third and have not been for COVID. So we were on the night. So it was my fourth actually. Yeah, today
Okay.
fourth year. But the first one was in 2019. The first year, Ed. I've done not because Eat Drink Disrupt is so much work. So Ed, it's the Ed Summit, Eat Drink Disrupt Chronic Disease Summit, and the goal is to really push those out to a larger city by city, get them on the different cities because mine is mostly clinically focused. It's a clinical and culinary plant based experience. So it's a bit of a quasi. It's a little bit of what a general veg fest would have, but it's more so focused on what a clinical, because those can be a little dry, right? So so instead of just clinical, I have the culinary, and then I have the veg. So it's a little bit of veg fest, it's a little bit of cooking demos, and it's a whole lot of education. That combination I think strikes well, and I try to target communities of color because of this disproportionate health rate and disparities of death. African Americans lead in heart disease death, cancer death, second in diabetes. 80% of African Americans women are obese or overweight, and almost 50% of African Americans have some form of cardiovascular disease, heart stroke or heart attack, but heart disease something. So again, we're fighting things on all fronts. So I always bring in, I was going to say BIPOC, but let me be specific: Black, Indigenous, people of color to be keynotes at my events, and I also try to make sure all my vendors, for the most part, are primarily either ethnically diverse, having some ethnic background that has experienced um, discrimination, or African American or persons of color. So make sure that that's there because it's easier for people to come in who normally wouldn't come if they see people that look like them. There is it's ticketed, but again, this year's theme is the prescription for health wealth. I think that's what it is. I don't remember, something like that. And every year is a different theme. So I'm excited. I again don't normally do it in April. I'm more of a fall event person. I actually did it in New Rochelle, New York as well. So in 2019, I did this event in it's like a mini in New York, and then I did the regular one like this one, the Ed Greenville, the Greenville One Center. So it's going to be very good. We have Dr. Baxter Montgomery coming. He is the author of Prescription for Health, the food prescription for health, and he's got a book out. He is a top cardiologist in his field. He's got a Montgomery Heart and Wellness out of Houston, Texas. He is fantastic. He has a raw vegan uh, meal prep in the middle of his wellness center, and he gives food prescriptions along with his other prescriptive protocols. And he is raw vegan, and he has reversed disease time and time again. He is journaled and published. He's going to be doing the prescription for heart disease prevention and reversal. And Dr. Milton Mills is coming back with us, and he's going to be doing the prescription for type 2 diabetes. Dr. Milton can do something on anything. He's like a genius. Both of them are geniuses, but he can do it on anything. but I want to keep them in type 2 diabetes because I want to focus on heart disease and type 2 diabetes at this particular seminar. And then we have Miyoko coming in, who's going to talk about the environmental and ethical aspects, impacts of veganism, vegan businesses and brands. And so she's great, and I have been wanting to bring in something on environment and animal, but I don't want to be like Farm Sanctuary. Bring that in. I want to bring in some heavy hitters. So they're all coming in. I'm really excited about that. Then I have chefs coming from Charlotte, Chef Chu coming from Oakland, Chef Julia Simon coming from Charlotte, and then I have Chef Executive Chef Artina Lindsay coming from Spartanburg Regional Hospital, and she's going to be doing some good food. She's also doing vegan kimchi fried rice, chicken fried rice, to honor Miyoko because we're honoring Asians. They've been really going through some discrimination, recently with a lot of the hate crimes. So we want to make sure we honor her as well. So that's pretty much, and a lot of good vendors.
Yeah, everything from shirts to desserts to boozy, slushy wines or something of, if it's not
Yes.
wine, it's gonna be a slushy alcoholic something or other. And and of course the empanadas.
Yes, those empanadas. You've had them? I know you know Latin Flavors puts on it. We need to get them all the way into the vegan life. I actually did a collaborative burger with them, Urban Eats Burger, and I think they had it at your event last year,
Yep.
and probably sold out. I told them how to make the burger out of my cookbook, Flavor My Plate, and making that burger. I just told them they just added their flair to it, and their chef and I just got creative together. And I said, you don't have to buy the impossible meat and all this stuff. Look, get some black beans, do this, and this, and then add some of your Latino flavor there. And they did, and it was out of the park. It's great.
It was delicious. And Susan's watching because Susan was working selling the tickets in Greenville. So she was air conditioned, but she was in like a little booth and
Right.
she was like, I'm hungry. So I just came in with those burgers, the sliders.
Yeah.
And yeah, they were delicious because we got empanadas and we got the sliders. We tried everything. It's a perk of running the thing. I just go behind the booth and I was like, yeah, I'd like that, please.
Yes,
I'm cutting the line.
look, I always tell my vendors, give me my stuff in advance. Don't put it in a box. Don't, because you're going to sell out. I want my stuff in the side. But yeah, I love what they're doing. And all they did, so it basically was my recipe from the book. We just changed 3 ingredients. The only thing I would probably change, the only thing they did was a little difference was, again, adding 3 ingredients that I typically don't put in. And their sauce is a little different. I don't like messy. But messy goes well with sliders. So, but it's a black bean slider, so why not? It was good.
It was really good. We have to get them. They would be great if they would travel. If they came to Asheville with some of that food, it'd be amazing.
They might do that. You probably have to get Stephen to do that. So we'll talk about that. But yeah, what's being done in the community is important. And again, I really appreciate what you're doing, and I think that we have a mutual respect for the challenge that it is in the community to get people healthy, whether they're black or white. But it's especially dangerous when African Americans don't go healthy because of the already disproportional nature of health and death and disability. So again, I'm super concerned about everyone and then the planet.
That's no joke. So Greens and Things is in Greenville,
It is.
right? So for the that have the farmers market type thing in a food desert type area, you're in Charlotte now. Does Charlotte have anything like that?
So Charlotte, and again, I got to Charlotte in October, and I originally lived in Charlotte, went to high school there, moved there in elementary school from New York. So I grew up in Charlotte, left 12 years ago. So coming back is very different. And coming back as a vegan, when I left, I was not, and I had a business, and I wasn't even vegan, in a food business. So coming back, I used to visit over the last 12 years. But they have farmers markets, many farmers markets, but they have nothing like Greens and Things. And I remember sitting with Curtis and Tammy. I gave them the name Greens and Things. So, and I was definitely on board and supporting what they did. They're the only ones to do it like they do. They should move that to other cities. But I do have a program called the Community Roots Program, where I will be doing something. The only thing I would do differently, and they should do theirs the way they're doing it, is not charge anybody. I'm like, I hate charging people. So I really do. And everybody does. But when I'm going into a community that I know already has a lot of systemic inequities and problems, the last thing I want to do is try to explain to them why this is you should pay $4 for this burger, this black bean burger, or this nachos, loaded nachos, or $8, which, you know, I'd rather just give it to them. So I'm looking at getting grants for my community roots program through my organization Power is Giving. I am a co-founder of that organization, and that allows me to receive grant funding for that Urban Eats would otherwise not be able to get. And I just am a service provider, a vendor for Power is Giving when it comes on the food side. But Charlotte has a lot of vegan events that they don't quite have. Well, Greens and Things is very unique. But there is something called the Bowl. They have something called the Bowl, and the Bowl does food demos. Some they're almost there, but they use rutabagas. You can't get the rutabaga at Family Dollar. What are we doing? I saw recipes, and I met with the people at Bowl. Very nice people. I love the energy because they actually asked me to do chefing in the community right down the street at the high school where I went. Uh, I just uh, so I just rather build my own mousetrap. When I can't have it the way I want it, I don't want to change anybody else's because I think what they're doing might be a part of their purpose. So I'm not going to mess with them. Do what you do, but in the meantime, I'm going to do it this way, and I won't step on your toes. So the Bulb does something very good. They do a lot of stuff in food deserts, but they're also giving out chicken and dairy. They're giving out meat and dairy that they think is healthy, and I think the former executive director and the founder was a vegan, and now she's not a vegan. So
Yeah.
the only thing I know close to it is Bulb. But again, I'm just learning Charlotte. Been back since October, so I'm taking my time easing back in the community and easing into as a vegan. And I used to come in and do catering in Charlotte as a vegan. In these last several years, I did a lot of corporate catering and a lot of things when I was not, and I still kept those relationships. A lot of political catering as well. But I'm focused on vegetation, so I'm learning who's who. And I think there's Jessica Barrett. She's a voice, a name I've heard several times in Charlotte. Her husband is over the conditioning and training program at Johnson C. Smith University, and she's a nutritionist, plant based. And I think I'm gonna see if I can link up with her. I'm finding anybody I can just on the health side, that's also vegan because it's important.
I think that's a great idea. I mean, I feel like it's important for Charlotte because I'm pretty sure there's a food desert there. I don't feel like it's maybe may not be as much as Greenville. North Carolina is a bit more progressive than South Carolina is, but they're still everywhere. And if you can bring a vegan, like that opportunity for the veganism to your community, that and healthy, not 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 fried food, but to take something like, collard greens that normally have pork rinds or pork in it or just bacon, and to make them smoked and taste great and be, oil and still have the smoky flavor and taste absolutely delicious. That makes people eating that go, "Wait, what? I make these, but I've been raised to make this with I've been
Right.
raised to make my vegetables with butter and animal fat."
Mm-hmm. Well,
And
yeah.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I've been challenged by, yes, absolutely. Going into the community, doing it that way is the best way. We've talked about this on the stew. When you go into the community, you got to go in there with the mindset of, what's being eaten. But don't get the impression because it's surrounded in the food swamp by Chick-fil-A, not Chick-fil-A, Church's Chicken, and all these other places that nobody, all that's eaten is burgers and chicken. We, we want healthy food. Communities want healthy food too. They just don't have access. So yeah, making those collard greens delicious and not bringing edamame salad in smoothies. Please stop going, people, to the black community, to the black church. To the historically black church with the smoothie machine and the juicer, and then thinking they're gonna smile. We're nice. So smile. Thank you, ma'am. And then we're never gonna eat vegan. You got to go with the right tools, but it doesn't have to be slathered in butter. And again, I've seen some butter inside this butter slathering vegans. Uh, Nothing wrong with it for if you don't have disease, but if you're in disease and you're eating that way, it's just a matter of time. you're going to also have heart disease, and you're all going to also you are. It's just no because that it's just a deterioration of health that happens when oils, fats, and sugars come into play, and if there's no nutrient balance. So it's just a so again that's why I like to stay on the vegetation side, Helene, because I want to make sure that that message gets out. And there are a lot of food deserts in Charlotte. Actually, the Bulb on their website has the statistics that some tell you how many food deserts there are here. And I actually did it and put it in a couple of grants that I wrote. There's some grants coming up in Charlotte, so I'll be applying for those through Powers Giving. When it so that I want to make sure I do it differently. Food demos, tastings, and then education, and bringing in Dr. Mill to do education. Baxter will do education with me, and I'm looking at other doctors will come in and just show their face for 15 minutes on the video and do a little Q&A. And it's a 4-part series, the 4-week Community Roots program. So that I'm trying to really get the Community Roots program funded, but I can't do that until after the Ed Summit, because you know how it is when you have 9. You know how it is. It takes all of your attention to make sure all the parts work well, so it's very smooth and organized. So while I want to do that right now, and I want to finish my second cookbook, flavor my tailgate, your tasty vegan guide to game time. I'm halfway through it, and I can't finish until after this summit.
Yeah.
So that's really my focus. But Community Roots is up next, and then the book will be out. So
Yeah, that's awesome because that sounds like a fantastic plan because one of the things that we've spoken about when we've gotten on the phone or done this and virtual talk with one another when we talk to one another was is to figure out how we can get into communities that need the vegetation,
right,
and to put in front of them food that is familiar
right.
and show them and do that. And I'm a big proponent of that. I feel like it's fantastic. I feel it's important, and it's something that it's time that's spent that's worthwhile because you really can plant seeds and change lives
You can.
by doing that. And it's like you said, it's like not it's not going in with like smoothies with something that people think is
Rutabaga.
very expensive to make,
Rutabaga.
or like I don't have a Vitamix. I don't have a blender that can blend up frozen fruit. I have a chunky smoothie then, which is really gross. So it's not it's not the right it's not the right audience
Right,
for what you're trying to. It's not saying that you can't go in and speak to an audience about making a smoothie or making plant milk or like doing things like that. It's just in churches and in communities of color, they'll just say they'll be like, this tasted good, thank you, and then they'll just move back on to what they're eating because you're not showing them anything different of what they actually eat. Show me how to eat fried chicken healthy.
right. But right, or and so what's worked well for me, Helene, when I go into the communities, and I've had a lot of success in Education 101 and 102 programs, which are all transition to community roots for the most part, except for some of the corporate education. Um, Again, it doesn't have to. I actually do farro salad. It doesn't have to be familiar. It just has to be really flavorful, and they have to eat it before the meeting starts. So what I tend to do is I have a layout in the back of the room of every church or community center I've ever gone to, and I lay all the food out like some fancy, event, and I lay it all out. There's always some greens if it's a church, some smoky greens, and then I do some chili, or you can do a farro salad loaded with mushrooms if you want. But if you don't know the audience, you can put some groundless crumbles in there, which is made, Vital Wheat gluten crumbles or whatever it is. And you add sun dried tomatoes, all these things that you think, and then you have that. By the time when they eat it and they taste it, now they'll listen. There's no listening without eating. So I've never started a community education event without having the food already out because both ears are open then. If I wait and do the talk and then expect them to eat, they miss the message. So for me, it's very important to do the food first, and I think that's just because I know how important food is to the community, and we all do. But again, it doesn't have to be chicken, the fake, not the fake chicken. It doesn't have to be fried. It doesn't have to be mushrooms or anything. It just needs to be really tasty
Yep.
and not foreign. Like
Right.
everybody's had chili, but it doesn't have to be. something super ethnically specific.
Like you said, rutabaga.
I couldn't believe I saw a recipe for rutabaga for a food justice program. I was like, well, I know where to get rutabagas, but why can we not have done turnips? What, what are we really trying to do? So then it's about intentionality. You know, everybody has good intentions, but you have to really look, like you said, through the lens of the person that's watching, and hoping that they're going to get something. Because the point is, we want to reduce carbon emissions. We want to stop deforestation. We want to stop animal abuse. We want to stop global warming. We want to stop health, chronic health problems in America, period, let alone the disproportionality of it. And we can't do that without getting people to their why. And they can't hear their why if they don't know what tastes. So we got to first get them locked in. And again, I think that in the Black community, when we are Black educators and going in, we get, there's a whole lot of, okay, we're going to do the greens and the mac and cheese and the ribs, the fake ribs and all that stuff. Well, that's going to make people want to, if they can't make it themselves, they're going to want to go back and eat mac and cheese, collards, and ribs. And if they can't make the vegan kind because you didn't tell them that day how to do it, you just served it to them, then you change nothing.
Right.
So that's why intentionality matters so much. So that's why I say don't try to make it so ethnically specific. Try to make it extraordinarily tasty and accessible. You can get beans at the store. Sweet potato, soy chorizo chili. Leave out the soy chorizo if you want. I put sweet potato chili. I roasted sweet potato. Everybody has an oven. And then you have beans. Everybody can get the beans. You can get beans at Family Dollar. So I did see some people. Again, you can do a whole thing at Family Dollar. Literally, well, Dollar General, whatever store you want. You can do a whole meal there, but it can't be oiled up. I've seen some people doing oily, buttery madness, just vegan on a budget. And I'm like, this is going to kill people. In that community, there's already so much chronic disease. All they're doing is endothelial cell dysfunction and melting of that. So I think the education is so important. And you got to save the planet. You know, our grandchildren, nothing's left for them. I don't know what they're going to do if we don't stop it. So I'm very concerned on so many fronts. And I think that's why these summits and Vegfest are important. And I like the way that they were all trying to be on one page. Veganism is very confusing to me. It's gotten more confusing since the advent of all this $4.2 trillion buying power we have. So veganism is a $4.2 trillion food industry period. So with that much buying power comes a lot of advertising and a lot of marketing and a lot of confusion. And that's caused a divide in the vegan community. Remember the KFC show we did? Well, who can forget that one? There's a lot of confusion. Then when people start, 5 years from now, people start having health problems that are vegan from all these impossible this and that, and all this oil. It's really not the product. It's the nutrient density of it, lack thereof. And then there's the oil. And then there's the fats in it. If you're in disease, or if you're not, you're going to go that way. And that's where we need to be real safe and smart. And that's why we all need to be educators, especially people like you and I who do events. So my concern is that we, without this buying power, teach each other without fighting. And how can I tell you? They're not targeting the people that are not vegan. They're targeting people that spend $4 trillion. Why would I target a non-vegan when vegans spend $4 trillion? Why do I want to target a non-vegan? I already have them.
It's true. That's a good point.
Yeah.
I like what Hurley said. He said making it simple makes it way more appealing to people. That was.
Can you pop it up? I can't see it.
Yeah. Yeah, making it simple makes it way more appealing to people. That's, if you're, I like to cook, but I don't like to cook for hours.
Right. And that's the myth. That's one of the myths, Helene, that it takes hours to prepare. It's just a little bit of prep work, and you can do that on Sunday when you go shopping. And if you prep on the day that you shop and you properly bag and contain the products, you have food all week. You don't have to do meal prepping. A lot of people don't like cooking, but you also don't want hospitalization and death. So You have to pick your decision. It doesn't take hours. It takes 20 minutes. The average recipe in my cookbook and in most vegan cookbooks that I see are 25 minutes. I can make gumbo in 45 minutes. And gumbo's a little more complicated but again, once you make it, it stores for 3 months in the freezer. So
Right.
my freezer is loaded with 32-ounce lidded containers of food that'll sustain you. That's high in nutrient density and low caloric, and certainly high in fiber and phytonutrients and protein and all the things, vitamins and minerals that we need. Again, I get concerned when I see all this broken down plant protein. It makes me nervous about what's going to happen in 5 years and what the reports are going to be for veganism. And then the people are going to say, see, the vegans were wrong. Look at them; they're all sick. Look at them; they're in the hospital too. Yeah, they have they have cancer, they have heart disease, and unfortunately that happens. But you can reduce your risk factors by up to 90% if it was whole food plant based. But that's a hard sell to vegans because most vegans are in it for the animals. And if you're in it for the animals, you're not quote concerned about your health. But humans are also sentient beings. So be concerned about the sentient humans as well. The other animals can't talk. And I love the animals. I do. But the human animal has to take care of the animals and save them. You can't do it if you're in the hospital with cancer, you know, then you're trying to go raw real quick. It, I don't understand. It's just we got to do better. We've got to do better as a community. I feel like we need to hold ourselves to a higher bar and a higher standard.
What's interesting is I want to make sure that people understand that you're not saying that vegans will not get cancer, will not get diabetes, will not get heart disease, will not
Right.
have strokes. It's not what you're saying. What you're saying is by going whole food plant-based, you mitigate your risk of getting those diseases. However, you cannot fight or outlive what your genes are, your genetics are. So that will play a role, but if you know that you can be predisposed to type 2 diabetes and you eat tons of things that are high in fat, high in like no, not really cholesterol, but high in fat, which leads to increasing your cholesterol because even though it doesn't have cholesterol, the fat in your body will lead you to have a higher cholesterol level. Look that up. It's very interesting,
Mhm.
but you're still going to increase your risk, maybe not as high as if you were eating animal-based foods, but if you know that you have a high if you know you have cancer that runs in your family, you know you have diabetes, you know you have strokes, you know you have heart disease, then you have to be conscious of what you're putting in your body because just because it's vegan doesn't equate to healthy. And not everyone, and we're also not saying that you have to eat raw, whole food, plant-based every single meal and be neurotic about it either. It's called balance because everyone wants to kind of go out to eat every so often. It's harder to go out to eat and eat whole food plant-based or raw or no oil or no salt or no sugar. But maybe that's your fun meal. And at home, when you cook for yourself, we tend to cook healthier for ourselves. Here we go. Susan just said whole food, plant based, and vegan don't have to be mutually exclusive. Exactly. You can be both. And you know what else you can be? You can be vegan or whole food, plant based, and care about animals and care about the environment too. You don't have to be one or the other or the other. We've got two women on the show who are all three. So I don't know how you don't care about the environment. If you open your eyes, you just look around just a tiny bit, you see what's going on, we need to do something. Obviously, the animals are in our faces all the time as to what we need to do, but great point. Humans are animals too. We can't just care about the cute chickens and sheep and cows and pigs and dogs and cats. We have to care about the humans as well. And then, of course, food is the gateway drug to veganism. Like, catch them with the food, and it's really easy to pull them in, but to keep them there, they need to understand why, not just, hey, I lost some weight eating this way. So let me go back to eating hamburgers because, I lost weight and I feel good. So now I can go back to that. And then they feel like crap again. So, which is, human nature.
Yes. Yeah. So yes, I agree with you. So I always take my little notes, Helene. I'm
Yep.
human. So one, yes. Thanks for clearing that up for the people in the back row. They're going to say I said what I didn't say. This happens to me all the time. I'm so used to getting misquoted. That's good. That means they're listening. But so I don't care. But I will say this about the genetics, as Dr. Clapper would say, as Dr. Campbell would say, um, or Dr. Esselstyn. All any of those good doctors will tell you. Genetics is everybody has diabetes, cancer, all this in their gene code. So it's in your system. It doesn't mean it turns a light switch on. You literally, with a whole food plant based lifestyle, have a significantly less chance of hitting the light switch and turning it on. 90% reduction up to Ornish. Read the Ornish's first book, not Undo It, but the other one before that, the Ornish first one. That tells you that, and of course, Esselstyn's studies have revealed some of that, but Ornish, his study first revealed up to 90% reduction of risk factors. So genetics plays a part in that, turning cancer genes on, turning cancer genes off. Dr. Colin Campbell, genetics doesn't turn them on and off. Food turns them off and turns them on. So your diet and the other lifestyle factors. There's 7 lifestyle factors. The most prominent is nutrition, and of course, smoking, alcohol, other things. So to me, I am kind of saying that the genetics is, if we went down to genetics, we'd all just gonna die of these diseases. We're not. So I was saying to another person today, a sad diet is just sad, no matter if it's the American sad diet or a sad vegan diet. A sad diet is a sad diet and a sad lifestyle of eating, and both of them will kill you. One will kill you 7 years later. So to me, it's important that it is a nutrient dense, low caloric, very healthy. And of course, you can use salt, but if you have heart disease, why are you using salt? I mean, you don't have to. But there's nothing wrong with salt. Nobody says salt's bad. That's what they tell you, who are the dietitians who are traditionally trained. They tell you don't use salt, and they tell you this if you have hypertension or high blood pressure. They also tell you not to eat fruit if you have diabetes, but that's a lie also. So you just need to be able to wade through. It's only bad when you separate the fructose from the sucrose. That's what triggered. That's orange juice, just for the audience and the people in the back. The orange juice is what triggers it. Oranges, you can have them all day if you have diabetes, but drink some orange juice or some apple juice, and swoop, up goes your insulin. It's gonna trigger insulin disruption. It's gonna make you have a spike. So these are the little things that you need to know. So I am kind of sticking by saying it does mitigate significantly, but I say genetics isn't all that it's cracked up to be. It doesn't turn on light switches. It just loads guns, loads triggers. It doesn't shoot triggers. It doesn't pull triggers. The other thing I was going to say, the balance. So I don't want to bring that mentality. So when I'm talking to the audiences and community, moderation is never an answer. Moderation is usually a bad thing. Balance. But you're right. The way you travel and the way you have to eat is very different because of your lifestyle and what you do. But we've got to find healthier stops because the only vegans that I know that I'm aware of that are sick are the ones who don't eat whole. Dr. Campbell is whole food, plant based, no oil, not sick at all. And he's old. He's very old. And then of course there's Dr. Esselstyn, no oil. Well, you don't have to go that far if you don't want to. But I think 5 days a week. What's the problem? Why can't we do this 5 days a week and then have fun on the weekend? And do a little something on the weekend and have treats. I don't get why it's so out of balance. So you're right with balance, but I want it to be significantly tilted. I don't really want balance. I want a significant tilt toward whole food plant based with a smidge of fun with vegan food. That should be it. And the what else? No sugar. You can have sugar. You just can't have highly processed sugar. Maple syrup, agave, in middle amounts. Those and of course natural sugars that you find in fruits, dates. I mean, there's so many fruits. There's sugar everywhere. It's just in a whole way, or minimally processed way. So those are my comments on what you said. I think I will let them attack me for the genetics thing. It just loads guns, doesn't pull triggers. There's another guy who said it too, Dr. Kim. Dr. Name's Dr. Kim. Lynn. Don't let me get it wrong. Date sugar. But you know what I was going to say about date sugar? If you look up in the glycemic index, guys, so Susan said date sugar. So date sugar, please check the glycemic index of any process, anything that you break down and process. So I don't remember what the date sugar's glycemic index load was, but the glycemic index is available on Google, and you can just put in glycemic index load, and then you can just glycemic index date sugar, glycemic index raw sugar, and you'll see the numbers. So the one that I know has a very low glycemic load is agave and maple syrup. I read that
There's a question from Hurley
it's
to that.
body processes agave the same way. So I heard there was so processing so what it does is the hypothalamus gland. I learned this in that Colin Campbell in that class, the nutrition class. Your hypothalamus gland, it triggers the same happy drug kind of effect as cocaine and heroin, the happy gland. The sugar gives you is a high, right? So it triggers addiction, but it doesn't have quite the same effect. At least from a glycemic load perspective, it's not the same kind of product. But of course, it's not like it depends on how you're using it. If it's a hint of something versus an egregious use of it. So I think we'd have to probably check back on that, Helene, to get a better answer on that. But I have heard mention of that as well. And what I've heard is that it does trigger the addiction thing that makes you want to go get some more, that cup of tea, go get some more tea, put some more agave in it. Go get some more something, put some more agave in it. Because it's hypothalamus gland. And that's what that gland does. It makes you want more of what you like. So just do more dates. Do more apples. It'll give you happy. Date sugar is simply dried ground dates. Gotcha. Thanks, Susan. Thank you for that. So, yeah, if that's the case, then it should be low glycemic load. Again, I'm just a big stickler for going and looking at the glycemic index because when I was in making meal preps and doing those things, Helene, I had a lot of people with type 2 diabetes and heart disease. So I ended up, because of the way I came in and always talking about health on my feeds, that's the clients I got. And I work with dietitians and nutritionists and doctors. So then they refer their clients to me for meal prep when I was doing a lot of meal prep. So I always had to be cognizant of what I was putting in their food, depending on their health situation. So, yeah, I just tend to look at the nutritive value of the food. And I'm always going to slam the flavor down because I love spices and herbs. I love them. They're my best friend.
Well, that's the thing. We've spoken about that on here many times, and on the stew, we brought it up as well. Is that when you're eating meat, you're eating animal-based meat,
Mm-hmm.
the only reason it tastes good isn't because of the meat. It's
Right.
because of how you spiced it.
It has
It's
no
because of the
flavor.
flavors you put into it.
It has no flavor. It never has. You
Right.
ever cook chicken? But I used to make chicken. Used to make chicken. It didn't have any flavors. You put seasoning on it. It was bland, actually, when you
Right.
ate it. We're harkening back to our years of animal. We're not promoting people in the backseat.
No, we're promoting spices and herbs and the stuff that you that's what makes food flavorful. And that means you can take tofu and tempeh and Brussels sprouts and string beans and and even fruit and you can make it absolutely. I mean, it's still some fruits are delicious on their own, but you can take or a vegetable can be delicious on its own. A sweet carrot that's raw is amazing.
Never had
But
from a farm. Like when you come out of it. So I've harvested sweet carrots actually from a farm and eaten them right out of the garden, out of the dirt. And then I got some B12 to boot. Well, I was doing it. You get some B12 and you get some sweetness. I actually ate corn off of it, pull the corn off the thing,
yep,
shuck it right there, and it was the sweetest. I didn't even know. I didn't know it was sweet because at the grocery store, it's been in the truck for a week. But
right.
so that's why I'm also an advocate for working with local CSAs and farms. Best carrots I've ever had are the ones I pulled out of the grounds at Marietta Farms. I mean, and they took care of that dirt and they tilled that soil and made it nutrient dense. And to get that, and I wanted it a little dirty because then I had to take my B12 that day. So, I mean, it's just that nothing gets better than that kind of sweet. And then when you go to the store, so that there's a treat there. So I think that we should work with farmers a lot, making sure that we still understand and support farmers, and that what they do, as long as it's, they don't feed the dirt with. Well, they have to use manure, so that's okay.
It depends on the farmer, I guess. But
But
yeah, with corn is one of those things. I don't know if people know this, is that you don't have to cook it.
No.
You can just cut the corn. You can eat it off the cob, but if you're gonna use it like raw like that, you just
Right.
cut it with a knife and like you take a bowl and you reverse the bowl inside that bowl and you put
Right.
the corn on it and then you just cut the corn on
Mhm.
top, which falls down into your bowl, which makes it really easy. And it's delicious. You do not have to cook it, but I highly recommend that you don't just buy corn. It's a very high chemical food in how it's processed. Corn is
Well, the
corn.
Monsanto version, which is 90% of all of our food. But
Yeah,
that's why I say support local farms, because local farms are going to get it, and the organic local farms. There you go, raw, fresh, organic on the cob. So yeah, so you can just, and also you can just lightly steam it if you're like not believing us. Believe Susan,
right.
you're not,
Try it.
because we love food. I can tell you, if you look at Susan's page or Helene's page or mine, we are food lovers, not just in business. Um,
Yep.
but if you don't believe us, you can put it in your steamer for like 2 minutes. You don't have to season um, good corn. Farmed
Nope.
corn, you don't even have to season it. And I know that sounds dramatic, but it's true. You can put that and put some aromatics, steam out some onions. Oh my gosh, and some peppers. Why am I hungry?
I'm hungry.
Helene
It's
was,
it's a I have cookware called
yeah,
I have cook what's my cookware called?
I think you have the good cookware that's not.
It's Kitchen Craft. That's it. I have Kitchen Craft. And you can take Kitchen Craft and it's no water cooking.
Mm-hmm,
It's amazing. So you basically, because when you put the cover on and you put it on the heat, it creates a seal
mm-hmm,
and it cooks the food. You cook it for like 10 minutes or something, depending on what you put into it.
mm-hmm.
And you can put a whole bunch of cauliflower and broccoli and onions and
Right.
fresh garlic, and you can put it all in there and potatoes. You cook it for like 10, 12 minutes, and then you take it off the stove and you let it sit for like another 20 minutes or so.
Mm-hmm,
And it's the best vegetables that like I've like really like ever eaten. Like I'm like the only spices in there is the fresh garlic and the fresh onion.
mm-hmm.
And it's just amazing. And the only water that goes in there is actually after you wash the vegetables. That is the little bit of water that's in there. And it's just amazing. They're one of our vendors and I just, you know, bit the bullet. It got some and it's cookware that I'm going to leave to like my nephew.
Oh wow,
Because
so it's
it's going to last. It's
right.
going to last generations. So it doesn't stop with me.
Well, that's good. It's an investment. So,
Yep.
but for those who can't invest, listen, I have taken a Family Dollar or pot and pan back in my day. You just put a little drop of water in there and put the top on it and put it on low. And again, the steam it makes its own steam. You don't have to have a fancy steamer. And
Right.
I think those are one of the myths that we have to break in the community. For those who, you know, have some bandwidth to invest, and it's an investment is an investment. I understand. But for those who can't afford the investment, your Family Dollar pot or pan is going to do that steam, can do the same steaming, give you a steaming feel, you know. And if you want to raise it, you'll get the actual steam. Put something in the bottom of the pan. But
That in the microwave too.
yeah, you put the lid on it. But so microwaves, who was it? Somebody I know. Yeah, but if you're anti-microwave or you don't have one, and you're staying in a hotel, well, I say stay in a hotel, they only have microwaves. I would say those who are homeless and those who struggle with staying in housing, they have microwaves in place. But they were saying they'll stay in suite hotels. I think they have stoves in there. I mean, you just need a lid, and the lid can be a plate. Everybody knows about the lid and the plate. Everybody's had it. The lid is your plate if you don't have your lid, right? And it's got to be a good plate. Or you can take the top of a big pot and put it in the medium pot, and now you have a lid because the lids never fit. You know how you lose the lids? I'm always putting a pot on top of a pot, and it gives me the steam I want. And it gives me the steam I want to get those veggies finished. But again, I just love playing with cool spices and warm spices and ethnic spices. I love Moroccan. I love all the ethnic Indian. Um, I love the to play with what cultures do. It's an inexpensive steamer rack. It's a great investment. Yeah, an expensive. Yep, yep. There's so many. You can get those from Dollar Tree. and then you can be inventive. It's just that we have that's why the education comes in. That's why all of us who are in the space where we're talking about veganism in spaces, we need to be able to say what Susan just said, what you said, what I said. And we need to make sure that if vegans don't know that, we need to be educating them because people are usually only going to interface with a vegan for a short period of time. And what they learn is going to be very crucial to whether they change their life or not. We just want to plant seeds. We just want to plant seeds. I'd love to stay around for the growth process, but often there's no ability to do that. So the bandwidth is, hey, see you next year, or see you in 4 months, the next quarterly event. Uh, but so I'm thinking about doing an Ed, rolling it out on the news here. Ed talks, like an Ed town hall format for quarterly, where I would invite in pastors, BIPOC pastors, and BIPOC political leadership, and invite them to quarterly talks about chronic disease in disproportionately impacted communities. So I wouldn't have to do an event but once a year. I'm still trying to do that. Then I can do quarterly talks called Ed Talks. Um, Moving Ted out of the way. Bye, Ted. Time for Ed. You're trying to help people live. Ed, bye, Ted. What are you talking about? Sometimes Ted does. We have had some great speakers on Ted that were vegan and plant based, but it's time for
Mhm.
Ed. Let's go, Ed.
I
So
love it. I love it. You can if you do them live, you do them on here. Make it easy for you.
absolutely, absolutely
Yeah.
make me have to figure out that next thing. Yeah, but so doing them live in StreamYard. Yeah, so that's once I get through this last April 30th thing,
Yep.
which is gonna be great. And guys, you will be able to get your tickets for Greenville Fun Fest and Greenville, all the different events that Helene has coming up in the different cities. Probably actual tickets. You probably can buy quite a few things there. Helene will be there at the Ed Summit in April 30th at the Greenville One Center with T-shirts. You'll say it yourself. I don't want to talk for Sagittarius, but T-shirts, tickets for the Greenville Fun Fest, and information that you probably wouldn't otherwise know because you can probably find out right there. Again, it's just important that we all support each other and we all try to make a difference on this planet for the little short time we're here. We certainly have the capacity to do so. Is do we have the will and the knowledge? Oh, cool! Susan's coming! Yay, Susan!
That's
About to get
awesome. So how
cool.
do people get tickets to the Eat Drink Disrupt?
They go to herban-eats.com / Ed Summit, EDD Summit. Helene is typing this in, guys. If you know Helene, that's
I just ED.
herban-eats.com / Ed Summit, EDD Summit.
Good, good, good. There we go.
Yep. I was going to give you the Powers Giving one, but that's too long. That was much shorter. Powers
Thank you.
Giving one is there too, but it's like Ed Flavor Summit. I'm like, it's too much. So that's how you get the tickets. We have limited seating. And the reason we have a limited seating is because I don't care what they're talking about COVID over and you wear masks. You wear a mask in my event, you wear mandated masks, and you're wearing N95 masks because I'm providing them for you. If you don't order the mask, you got to watch it virtually. Sorry, I'll give you a refund. But you'll wear the N95 mask that we provide. And we're going to have, it's a 274 seat. It's a pretty boutique event. So it's pretty small, niche. The auditorium holds 274. We will not sell more than 175 tickets because I want people to have space. Some people will automatically group together. That's fine. But I want room with empty seats because I'd rather have that going on. We'll be doing contact tracing, so you will have to register when you come on to the event page. You'll need to register so that I have your information. So that if anything happens, everybody can be contacted. There's no way to buy tickets unless you register, guys. So you're going to have to put it in. We're also working with the Medical University of Greenville, and I just got approval today that they're going to be the med students are going to be the associate dean of somebody said that they're going to be supporting the event and they're going to be pushing it out. They
Awesome.
work with the dean of something, and they're going to the med students, and then there's somebody else from staff, so they're getting actually a discount. There are also discounts for vegan Carolina Veg discount holders, essential workers. Um, Divine Nine, which are the Greek letter organizations, and med students get some discount. And
That's
seniors.
awesome. And
So everybody
seniors.
come
I
on.
also do military too.
Everybody come on. Look, you
Right.
get discount, contact me or Helene, I'll get your code. If that's what they're gonna take for you to come and
Right.
listen to a prescription for health well, will it's okay.
We'll get you in.
We'll
is what
get
we're saying. Is if this is what you need, we're not just like at all our festivals, nobody gets turned away. Just
yeah,
just come, and if just say like, "Hey, I just, I'd rather you spend the money on the vendors and,
right.
get some food and listen. If we have education, get your butt in the seat and listen to some of the education,
Yeah,
then you walk away because, like, the $5 or $10 was too much to come in. So don't just
yeah. Don't get caught up on the $20. It's a $20 ticket. But but there are all these promo codes out there. They're all on the website. If you went to the website, there's a button that says promo codes. Click that hyperlink for promo codes. Nobody told you that. I'm not gonna listen. Do promo code.
right,
You
it's exactly. When I have discounts,
Yeah,
I'm like, "Use the discount." Like, it's out there for a reason, I want you to use it. I'm
yeah,
not, like, hiding it from you. Please
right,
use it, and like you said, if somebody can't afford something or whatever, as a nonprofit, I mean, I'll donate tickets to people if they need them.
right.
So, just for
We
any of
just
for any of the events.
we
So,
just want you there, especially so we're really and also we're also working with the clergy council of Greenville, which is a church, all 25 of the historically black churches, and they're putting out a big push, and I'm giving them $10 off the ticket price.
oh, that's awesome.
April 25th, because I think for 75 tickets, because I want a nice representation, and I want people to heart disease and type 2 diabetes are like rampant in communities of color. So please come and listen to these esteemed uh, folks telling you clinically what matters about health, and then you taste some really good healthy vegan food. Well, the dessert is not healthy, but it's
It's
damn good.
good.
I don't really damn good. Uh, and all these,
Janari's, yeah,
yes.
it was
So,
psych. It's
so I had another person, one of my in the beginning, my wonderful Aaliyah. She's going to be doing some great. She's doing a kale bone, mac and cheese, and collards, and she's out of Atlanta, and she wanted to do some cupcakes. I said, no, no, don't do that because you'll have to do it against Jen, and no one's going to beat her. She needs to be on one of those cooking shows, but she's going to do cinnamon rolls instead to go with her package. So there'll be some treats out there, guys. You get some
yeah.
treats, but
Well,
it's gonna.
I'm hungry now. So, Dawn, as always, look, we're over an hour. So,
Let's go.
how easy was that?
It was. We both had crazy days, so I'm glad we were able to unwind with each other and your audience. So glad you guys stopped in, and I'm so glad that you brought me in and gave me a little woosah. So that was good.
Yeah,
But it,
it's absolutely my pleasure. I'm really glad that we finally got here, to to be able to do this.
yes, absolutely. So thank you so much, and for supporting the events and for all you do in the community. People don't tell you you're doing great work. So
Oh, Don, you as well. I mean, even more, you know, I feel it's a different type of activism. So, yeah, thank you, Susan. It's they're both incredibly important, and I want to reach everybody as much as I can, and it's harder for me to reach the BIPOC community because I'm not, but
right,
at the same time, I do reach them. But I
yes,
do that because of connections and relationships with someone like you.
yep,
And that gives value to what I'm doing because you're saying there's value there, and
mm-hmm,
that really matters. I mean, it helped the inaugural Greenville Fun Fest be what it was. And, just keep it going because every festival that we do in whatever community we're in needs to look like that community. And we're in a lot of diverse communities. And if it doesn't, then I haven't done my job.
right. That's where you measure your success, guys. You measure your success by the people who come to your event and whose lives you may have planted a seed in. So if you only planted seed in one row, then I don't know. Got to keep the work up. So for us, I know that's where Helene and I have a lot of connective tissue. So
Yeah.
again, thank you so much.
Well, Don, have a great night, and I will see you. What's today? Tuesday? I'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow on the school. What's the topic tomorrow? Let people know what's tomorrow's topic. We don't know.
Tomorrow is just planning. We go a week
Oh,
from
that's right.
tomorrow when we go live, which I think I know the topic, but I'm not sure if it's the topic. So
Okay, cool beans.
we'll see.
Well, I'll see
We'll
you
we'll
tomorrow.
discuss it tomorrow.
Thank
All right.
you.
No problem. Thanks, Liv. Well, everyone, thank you once again for joining the Vegan Stew. Sorry, CM on the Vegan Stew for joining Virtual Vegfest Live. Tomorrow, you get to see Coach Kayla at 7 p.m. Eastern Time when she brings health and nutrition to your fingertips. So you can go watch her and ask any questions that you have. She's amazing. And then on Thursday, do Wake Up and Yoga with Victoria, Vibrant with Vic. That's at 12:30 Eastern Time. You can do it in a chair. You can do it on the floor. You can do it wherever you are. You can do yoga with Victoria on Thursday at 12:30. Outside of that, my next live is in March, and I think it's a few weeks out. I think I'll look that up, but it'll be a good one, of course. So, other than that, be kind, be gentle with one another. The world is, forget COVID at this point. We support Ukraine and Ukrainians and what's going on over there. It is something that we are definitely uh, learning from, and we can definitely take a lesson from the Ukrainians and uniting together because, wow, if anything comes out of this, hopefully they stay Ukrainians. And wow, what they're doing as a country, as a people, everyone in this country could learn a lesson from that. But on that, I'll get off that, and I will see you next week on the Vegan Stew, Wednesday at 7 p.m. And that's a week from tomorrow. Have a good night and be safe, and bye.